Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to share with you how I made my meat pie. I've got all my ingredients here. It will be listed down below. It's all prepared before cooking, so to save time I'm going to go ahead and heat about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in my pan. Once it's hot, I'm going to add my mince to it. Then I'll cook for about 5 minutes and add my onion. I'm just going to partially cook my vegetables. I don't want it to overcook it because I don't want it to be too soft when I put it in my dough. So I'm adding 1 vegetable stock, a tablespoon of garlic powder and ginger powder, black pepper, and a pinch of salt to taste. Just mixing everything till well incorporated. Then I'll add my onion. So if today's your first time watching my video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so when I upload any video, you'll be the first to be notified. So I'm just gradually adding all my vegetables. Here I've just added my diced potatoes. I'm just using 1 large potato. So depending on how much of or the quantity of your meat pie you're making, then you will need to adjust your ingredients or your vegetables. So I've added my red pepper and carrot as well. I'm just going to continue to cook for a few more minutes. I'm going to cover to simmer for a few more minutes. And once this is ready, or once this is enough for me, I'm going to set it aside to cool while I go and prepare my meat pie dough. So I'm going to set this aside. And in here I have 500 grams of plain flour, and I'm just adding 1 tablespoon of cinnamon and salt, and I'll mix everything together. You can use nutmeg as well, but if you don't have that, then you can use cinnamon instead. And then I'm just preparing my butter. I got this from the fridge about 10 minutes prior to making my dough. You want it to be nice and cold. And then I'm just cutting it into smaller squares so it's easy for me to manipulate into my flour. And I'm just going to add it to my flour and go in with my hand and mix. So I'm just going to mix everything together until there are no more lumps. So it's all well mixed, and if you squeeze this, you want to see that it's sticking together, then you know that it's enough and it's mixed. And then I'll be adding about 1 cup of milk. So because this cup is really small, I'm using 2 of these cups, but if you're using a mug, then you just want to use 1 mug of milk. So I'm just mixing everything, bringing everything together until it forms into a dough. I'm now going to wrap this in a cling film. And keep it in the fridge for about 30 minutes. So just put it in the fridge for 30 minutes, and after 30 minutes I am just gonna go ahead and start molding my dough. I don't have a dough cutter, so I'm going to use a bowl as I have always done, because that's how I have done it. But you do want to invest into a cutter because it will make life much more easier for you. Doing it this way is a bit harder because you have to, do everything by hand, and it is taking you a lot of time. So you do want to invest in a dough cutter really, and I'm definitely going to get one after this last meat pie. So I'm just going to make sure, but if you do not have a dough cutter, don't let that stop you from making your meat pie. If you're craving for any, there are always ways to do things, and you can learn different ways. So I'm just going to continue repeating that process until I have actually cut all my dough into the shape, and then I'll start adding my meat to it. So I'm just using one beaten egg for the edges, just using it to seal the edges before I roll the dough over. So I'm just placing about 1 spoon or 2 in the circle or in the middle of the dough, and then roll it over and use a fork to seal it, or hand. I mostly like using my hand because it's much more quicker and easier, but I'll show you how to use the fork as well. And I'll be repeating this process with all my dough. If you're using the fork, you don't really need to seal the edges with the egg before you fold it over. And once I'm done, I'm going to place this in my baking tray, and I will be baking for about 30 minutes in a preheated 180-degree oven. And I'll use the rest of the egg that I have left to brush the top of the meat pie, and the fork to poke a hole on top of it just to help it cook quicker. So I'm done, and I've placed my uncooked meat pies in the tray, and I'm just going to brush the top with the rest of the egg. And then I'll poke about 3 holes on top of it and bake it. So it's going to the oven now for 30 minutes. And this is the end result of my meat pie. Guys, you want to try this recipe, try and let me know what you think. This was one of the best meat pie I've ever made, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's so amazing. I don't know how to describe it. Please don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for taking your time to watch my video. Also, stay tuned, watch out for my next videos. I've got great things cooking this Christmas, so you don't want to miss it. Thank you once again.